Christmas Carol. Nathan, welcome to today's issues.
Well, thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Tell us a little bit, tell us where you are today and a little bit about yourself.
I'm an attorney in Iowa. I practice mostly criminal law in eastern Iowa, and I also write. I've written a couple books. I've written regular columns for the Tea Party Tribune and the Iowa Republican, and my latest book, as you mentioned, is Julia's Christmas Carol.
Well, tell it. Now, we know Julia as she was the face of President Obama's, a part of it anyway, this fictional face, part of the of his campaign for re-election, his successful campaign. Well, you've taken this fictional Julia and you've written, sort of recast Dickens' Christmas Carol into her story. Is that, am I getting it? Am I getting in the neighborhood of what this book is all about?
Right. Yeah, Obama had a Life of Julia. It was a slideshow chronicling a woman who lived off of the state, or at least lived off of a great deal of financial assistance from the state from cradle to grave, and it showed that in the slideshow as he ran for re-election. And so I just took that character and I ran with it and rewrote A Christmas Carol, called it Julia's Christmas Carol, and in it, it shows how she meets the people who paid, in essence, for her life. And she sees the harm that was caused by it, because in order for the government to give her money, it had to first take it from somebody else. And so she actually comes face to, well, she never actually sees, they can't actually see her, but she does come face to face with these victims, and it changes her life. She repents and changes her ways.
What about how do we change, Nathan, this mentality among, I guess, a substantial number of our fellow Americans that this is all they've known is government assistance, and that government's supposed to take care of them. This is all they've known their whole life, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And so how do we change that mentality?
Well, unfortunately, the Republican Party isn't making any effort to change their mentality, their mindset.
Well, is there a place at all for government assistance in your mind?
In my mind, no, because I don't believe that there's the moral authority that government has to take from one to give to another. And secondly, it doesn't work. They destroy more wealth by doing so than they ever hope to create. I believe that there certainly is a place for private charity, and we need much more of that. And unfortunately, much of private charity has been taken over by the government. So no, the short answer is no, I don't believe that there's a role for government charity, because it isn't charity. It's theft. And we need more people in the political spectrum educating people on how that actually occurs. And this book was hopefully will hopefully play a role in that, and showing people and opening people's eyes as to the fact that government has no money of its own. It can only take money from some to give to others.
The book is called Julia's Christmas Carol. How can people read about it?
They can go to my website, nathanwtucker.com, nathanwtucker.com. They can find out more about it. They can order it from there, and also look at my other books on the website as well.
Let me ask you this, because this is a hard. I understand fully what you're saying, and you're arguing both from a constitutional perspective, I believe, and also from a practical, point of view on whether something actually makes life better for people or not, or actually works or not. And we've seen over and over examples of government waste and inefficiency. But you're going to get people come back to you, even some conservative people who are Christians, and they're going to say, you are a cold-hearted human. The idea that you don't even want food stamps for people who are starving, down on their luck, had lost their job, and you would say no assistance at all? What kind of Christian are you?
I would say no government assistance. Certainly, as a Christian, I would argue for private assistance, and I think we need much more of that.
Yeah, but what if they don't have? What if they don't have private assistance? I mean, what if they nobody to help them out? And that's what there's, that's what the argument would be. Well, that's when the government needs to step in and help people.
And there have always, maybe I shouldn't say always, but there have been great many places and times where private assistance has always been available if people sought it out. Most people don't. They like the privacy of government assistance. Yeah. They don't have to tell anyone that they're in need. But I would also tell these people, these critics who say it's unchristian, I would tell them to go to these people who they are taking money from by force and explain it to them why they have to essentially rob them. They have to take money without their consent in order to give it to these other people in the name of charity.
Yeah, and I think that generally speaking, overall, what we've created is a culture of dependency. I don't think there's any question about that. I don't know how we back out of that now because so many people are dependent. It's just hard to reverse that. And you can go all the way back to the first part of the 20th century when a lot of all this started, all these government programs, and you get one government program on top of another, on top of another, on top of another, and then you got promises to keep from government to those people so that they'll vote for you. So you end up a lot of times buying people's votes by committing to give them money, it's a part of that, and we're going broke because of it, or we are broke because of it in large part, and that's was part of the reaction of the Tea Party movement, wasn't it, Nathan?
Right, and we are broke because most of us choose to ignore it for the time being until we run out of money completely. And my previous novel dealt with that, Letters from Cell Number 73, about what happens when we do run out of money. And it's not a pretty picture.
Well, we got printing machines on, Nathan. Don't you know that?
We do, but you can only print so much money until hyperinflation hits in.
Nobody in Washington believes that.
Well,
or at least they don't.
I
should change my statement. Nobody in Washington acts like they believe.
Right.
In that, even a lot of Republicans. Don't not all, but almost all the Democrats believe. I think that we can just keep the printing presses in printing into infinity, and a lot of the Republicans too. There just seems to be no seriousness about the hyperinflation that you're talking about. And you're saying that will happen one day happen one day.
The math just doesn't add up. There's no way we can fulfill all the promises we made without printing so much money.
What is inflation exactly? I mean, I think most people have a general idea, but what does that look like?
Too much money in the system, chasing too few goods, in essence.
So a dollar might overnight become worth 50 cents the next day. Is that what you're talking about?
Right. As far as buying power, right.
That's what it looks like, and it can happen slowly over time too, though, right?
It can. It can happen slowly, and it can happen overnight, and a combination of the two.
If it happens overnight, though, then you got calamity.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't want that. But I'm telling you. Our politicians, government officials, and quite frankly, it's our fault because not enough people are clamoring for, fiscal responsibility and balancing the budget and not spending more than you take in. I mean, very few people are arguing for that, and when they are, they're shouted down as being cold-hearted conservatives, and nobody wants to be called that because they might not be voted back into office again.
Right, exactly.
Julia's Christmas Carol by Nathan W. Tucker So you got other books too?
I do. I mentioned Letters from Cell Number 73. That's also a novel. And then I have 2 nonfiction books. Just one is a compilation of legal columns that I wrote, mostly dealing with constitutional issues. And then I also have We the People, the only pure to judicial activism.
Mm-hmm. Well, listen, Nathan, thanks for being our guest. We wish you the best with the book, and you can check all Nathan's work out at nathantucker.com. Nathan W. Tucker, right, Nathan?
Right, nathanwtucker.com.
Nathan W. Tucker. What's the W stand for?
What's my middle name? I think there's another Nathan Tucker out there as well, so that's why I have to include the W.
Gotcha. nathanwtucker.com. Nathan, we wish you the best with your books and your writings and appreciate you being our guest.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. Very well.